Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I haven't had a lot of good luck with dating ever since I moved here to the Phoenix area. In large part because I've been extremely busy with my art career. I showed you guys a few things that I did in recent weeks. My proudest discovery this past week was how to get the back of this Ganesh to pour smoothly. No bulging out, no sanding required at the end of it. And if you're lucky, sometimes you won't get that crack in the middle of it, but that's not too bad either. I'm still very proud of that discovery. Kind of a trade secret at the moment. Um, all told, I have about 100 of these altogether. I've sold quite a few of them too. I've probably poured 150 of these in my career. I hope to eventually pour one out of silver. The only problem with pouring it out of silver is that it's got a higher melting point, obviously. You can't really use silicone, you'll have to use some other material. I have yet to figure out what other material to use. Obviously, graphite will not work because there are like significant undercuts, right? You got to be able to pull it out of the graphite when you're done, right? Unless it's like a multi-piece mold, right? And also the cost, right? This thing weighs about 6 pounds. Silver is even more dense than bismuth, so you're talking probably $4,000 or $5,000 worth of silver. But I hope to do one because this is my favorite. Some other metals I might consider doing this out of. I could I could do copper if I had the graphite mold, right? Copper is actually cheaper than bismuth, but of course you need a higher melting point material for the mold. Could obviously do zinc, right? That would be really inexpensive. Um, I could do with the I did a few out of pewter before, but I got really poisoned working with pewter one time, so I haven't been working with that as of late. Um, and what else did I do? I could also do obviously lead, but that takes some precautions. Obviously, uh, I did one out of lead one time, and it turned out pretty well. But the amount of precautions it took pretty much destroyed any idea of making of that being an easy thing to do, right? Uh, I guess I could do, but anyways, I've been really busy with my art projects, so I haven't been networking. And it dawned on me. I did some googling about this, but it dawned on me: what if there was a piece of clothing or something that I could wear to signal that I am single? That way, as I'm doing my art projects, because I spend a lot of time in public doing the art projects, right? I have a favorite place at the park where I could plug in my furnace. I have sometimes I sit in the student union doing the Mondrian art squares, and hundreds, if not 1,000, people walk past me as I'm doing this. And if only they knew they could start a conversation with me, right? Because sometimes I'm busy. Uh, I'm not sure though, right? If there's a way to signal that in some way. The one thing I thought about is that as I'm doing this, maybe I'll have my computer open to some kind of dating information or something like so people can see involved in dating, right? That's one thing I thought about. I've never seen anybody wear a shirt that blatantly says I'm single, right? But if somebody happens to see that on my screen or something like that, right? That might be one way to leak that out, right? Feel free to leave a comment if you have any other suggestions. I love leaking out sneaky things like that. I've done things like that before. I had a student. I teach at a community college. I had a student who I thought was cheating. And one day, as he comes into my office to talk about something, I had in the corner of my screen, I had a tab open saying that what to do about students who are cheating. And I think he accidentally saw that. I intended for him to only accidentally see it. What had happened was he made it a habit. We have these online exams. He made it a habit that he would log on to the online exams and then claim that his computer froze. He was probably writing down the questions, printing them out, computer froze, and then he would go look up the answers or something like that. I had a student who I thought was playing a game like that. And to be fair, I did that when I was going to school as well. I was struggling with on a course on biology. I'm a computer science major. I didn't think I would ever use biology, and so I was cheating. We have these online exams as well, and I had a favorite computer lab to use on campus, but I knew there was another computer lab in a different floor of the campus. This was back in the early 2000s when there weren't a whole lot of security cameras. Nowadays, they would probably check. But what I would do is I would go to this computer lab that nobody knew me to frequent, and I would go open the exam and then take a look at all the questions, look them up, and then I would go back to my favorite computer lab where everybody knew that I frequented. I had a lot of friends there, and I would act surprised. Oh my God, somebody logged into my exam. And then I would complain to the professor or the TA, and they would reset the exam. And then I would deliberately not get a perfect score. I would get like an 80 or 90 to make it look realistic. And then I complained every time for like the whole semester, or at least most of that semester. And so I squeaked by with a C. Otherwise, I would have had to study a lot harder. And fast forward 20 years later, now it's my students' turn to play this game, and I didn't know what to do. I knew he was up to something, because I even asked him, "Do you need me to help you with upgrading your Windows or whatever this?" He claimed that the computer would freeze, and conveniently, it always only froze one time. It's not like he kept having problems with the same exam freezing over and over and over and over again. It would always freeze one time, and the second time he took the exam, all good, and he would conveniently get a 95 or something like that. And I knew it because I used to do it, but I didn't want to be wrong and I didn't know how to confront him. So one day he came to my office to pick up something, and on my screen I just had in big font how to confront a cheating student or something as he's walking in. And I even pretended to hide the screen as he came in so that he thought he had accidentally seen it, right? I didn't want him to know I was playing a game on him. I wanted him to think he accidentally saw it. And surprisingly, after he accidentally saw it, he had two exams in a row where he didn't have a computer freeze, and the scores were a lot less impressive. And so it was just weird. So that's why I thought about this strategy of just accidentally having a dating website open on my computer as I sit in the student union doing other stuff, right? Making art or working on my grading assignments or whatever, or working on composing letters to cheating students or whatever I need to do while I'm sitting in the student union, right? Leave a comment if you think that's a good idea or if you have any adjustments to that. Feel free to leave a comment. But right now, as it is, I am very ill thinking about this. And again, my chest pains. Let me talk about three other times that I was very ill because none of that compares to this. Um, I had severe eczema when I was 19, 20 years old. Actually, that one might have been as bad as this because I also couldn't go out half the time when I was dealing with eczema. Uh, I um, I had another loneliness episode akin to this one when I was working on my PhD. I had dated a girl who had taken advantage of me financially, and I almost dropped out of school. And I was terrified when I broke up with her because I had spent so much time with her. My whole life revolved around her toward the end of that relationship, and I didn't know how life would go without her. I was getting ready to go to a coin show. The coin show was going to be 2 weeks after We had broken up, and I was scared to death about that coin show. I didn't know how I was going to go to it. The day of the coin show, June 13th of 2010, it was a real sunny day. This is Rochester, New York. Feel free to check the weather. June 13th, 2010, Rochester, New York. And it was real sunny, and I took my bicycle to the coin show. I had a real good time in my life. It's funny how I can remember the weather conditions. It's kind of like we all remember what the weather looked like on September 11, 2001 in New York City, right? Remembering the weather of June 13, 2010 has kind of become like that because the day kind of it's the personal equivalent of 9/11, right? All of a sudden my the world is upside down because I have nobody to take to this coin show. It really did feel like a personal attack. It really did. On par with 9/11. It really did. And also parallel to 9/11 is the fact that I began a new chapter in my life as a result of that event, right? So there's a lot of parallels. Good weather, an attack, and a new chapter, right? And but that heartbreak didn't last very long. It was a lot deeper, but it quickly bounced back, right? This one is shallower, but lasting like years and years and years, right? If I had to be honest, this heartbreak really began in earnest last year. Uh, I uh, I was looking for somebody to play a couple of board games with me, and I had difficulty with that. And it continued with this year. It doesn't help that I've been burying my head with my art career. I was just taking inventory of all my art today, and I couldn't believe what I had. I couldn't believe it um, because I drown my sorrows in the art, and then I use when I'm doing my art, I miss out on chances to meet people. It's a very weird. So it's a weird. I wouldn't see it's not symbiotic, right? It's symbiotic in the sense that one goes up and while the other goes down. It's not parasitic either, right? What kind of relationship do you call that, right? The fact that my I've been burying my head in my art projects, at my work at the community college. I just got student reviews. They were for the first time in my life. I got a perfect 5.0 student review evaluation across 8 students. Um, I had a beautiful conversation with my boss, and and then I go to the art shows and I clean out, and uh, and then as a result of that, I'm not meeting anybody, and then I drown my sorrows from not having a date by ordering more bismuth. Not to mention not having that date, I drown my sorrows, but also because I'm not spending all my money on dating. I take that money and then what do I do with it? I buy more bismuth to pour, and so it's not symbiotic. It's symbiotic in the sense that one keeps improving while the other gets decimated, right? I don't know what kind of relationship you would call that. It's not really parasitic either, right? Uh, unfortunately, I think I've unfortunately this kind of relationship has kind of come to the end of the road, right? It's destroying. Right now, the illness from of the lack of companionship is already destroying my career, right? So it was good. It started like this, but now both of them are kind of on the way down, right? And and hence why I am making these videos and offering a reward and all that to stem the entire uh, uh, um, situation, right? To kind of turn it around a little bit, right? So please continue to show your support by disliking the video. I got another 300 pounds of bismuth on the way, and as I'm gonna have to think hard because I'll probably go somewhere public. If nothing else, even our backyard is kind of semi-public. A lot of neighbors will see it. I need some way to advertise that they can feel free to talk to me Uh, right? Because as I'm doing this stuff, hundreds of people walk by, right? But they just don't know that they could actually start a conversation with me, right? As I'm doing my Mondrian squares and I'm sitting in the student union, thousands of people are going to walk by, right? Sometimes I even take it to like a Starbucks or a shopping mall, and if only people knew they could start a conversation with me. It's not like I'm going to interrupt every piece that I put on the art and hey, how's your day going? That's not going to work either, right? I just need some kind of signal that people can, yeah, and yeah, I understand not everybody's going to start a conversation, but the people who want to can, right? I just need some kind of a device, right? I'm thinking, like I said, accidentally have something open on my computer screen, dating advice, a dating website, or or something, so that people could accidentally glance on that, and then they could realize, hey, they could steal me from whoever's on that dating website. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. Um, but uh, yeah, but like I said, it's getting ridiculous. Right? 2 years ago, it was a blessing, but now, well, this is what has happened, right? I I started my job at the community college 2 years ago, and so when I had relationship troubles, I buried my head there. I buried my head in the art projects as well. I was killing it at art shows last year. I got another art show coming up in December, and as a result, I miss out on mingling with people, and then I get upset and I bury my head even more in the art projects and at the community college, and then not only that, but because I'm not out there dating and I'm not spending money on that, I take the money and I buy more bismuth, buy more art supplies, and it just goes in this kind of a like I said, a divergence, right? And at first that divergence was picking up steam, but now the heartache has kind of taken away the thunder of the art careers and the career at the community college. I got a perfect 5.0 review, my first time ever in my lifetime. But then I came home and I got sick anyway. So I feel like uh, this what should I say? See, it's not. I was trying to find the right word for it. It's kind of like a reverse symbiotic relationship. It's not parasitic because it's not like one's, but it's a feedback loop that it makes one go up and up and the other one go down and down. Right? I don't know what we call that. Right? It's not quite symbiotic nor is it parasitic. Right? But I feel that kind of relationship has kind of run its course, right? And I need to stop it before it blows up in your face, right? It's kind of like a time bomb, right? If you turn it off before it blows up, maybe there are some good. Imagine a time bomb that that has good music play. Imagine you have a time bomb. It's playing really nice music, right? Taylor Swift, or if you like classical music, maybe it's playing Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony, right? But you got to turn off that time bomb before it explodes, right? That's what the whole situation kind of feels like, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.